All right. Oh, okay. Daylight savings is tomorrow. Yeah.
Midnight again. Midnight for us. At 2 a.m. it's midnight. No, we don't change. We don't change. East Coast, which still makes it Mountain Standard Time.
Yeah, everyone changes except for us.
California will be behind us.
Yeah.
Instead of the same. Yeah.
Okay, so I touched on it just a little bit, but benefits of a forward fold. Hamstrings, and hamstrings is probably the primary physical benefit of forward folds. Calves as well, and obviously hips. Hips and hamstrings almost are always together. It also releases the tension in the thighs and the knees. That's another physical benefit of forward folds. It strengthens the spine if you're doing it correctly through a back bend. It also calms down the nervous system, as I said earlier, calms down the nerves, it decreases anxiety levels, and it's introspective in nature. It's an introspective posture. So, when you're doing a forward fold, it's important that there is ease that comes into the pose. It's hard to do a forward fold when you're tense, when you relax. The easiest way to discern if they're comfortable in forward folds is if you see their shoulders rising up to your ears, their ears. So a good cue is pull the shoulder blades away from your ears, pull the shoulder blades onto your back, because once they start getting tense into a forward fold, they stop at a certain point. They're no longer to go any further because everything tenses, including their hamstrings. To release the hamstrings, you have to engage the quadriceps. So we call it reciprocal innervation, to contract one muscle to release the opposing muscle. So the hamstrings are the opposing muscles to the quadriceps. So when you're going to teach any forward fold, engage your quads, engage your abdominals, slowly fold forwards. That will help allow the hamstrings to release and open up. We just did Parsvottanasana. What's another standing forward fold? And a nice, easy one. We did it last week, I think, in part of wide leg forward fold. That's a nice one. And that's considered a level 1 beginner's forward fold. Parsvottanasana is considered a common pose, but it's not as easy as Prasarita Padottanasana. So coming to Standing Tadasana, mountain pose. Bring your hands to your hips. Close the mouth. Start to breathe primarily through the nostrils. So even notice this. I tend to get you to bring your attention to your breath even before I start any posture. I get you to start attention to your breath, engage your abdominals, bring your attention inwards. Remember, Yoga Sutra 2.46 says, Sthira Sukham Asanam. A pose should embody both steadiness and ease. When you're doing a standing forward fold, those two components must be used. Steadiness and ease. You find the steadiness through the grounding position. You find the ease through the breath by including that, the shoulders away from the ears, all that stuff, okay? So, step back with your right foot about 4 feet behind you. Let the left toes point inwards, facing the wall directly in front of you. Heel toe your feet a little bit wider apart. For most people, for beginning students, you'll notice that their feet they won't step far back enough, which is contraindicative to the posture, because the wider the feet are apart, the easier it is for them to fold forwards. but because of their hamstrings, limit them to step as far back as they can normally. Once I have them facing a wall, I ask them here to heel toe a little bit wider. Do you guys see how I did that? Because again, hamstrings will prevent them from taking as far back a step as you want them to take. So once you're here, heel toe them out or shuffle them like Sarah said. Shuffle the feet side to side. I don't know. Heel toe your feet. Hands to your hips. Take a nice in breath. Exhale, leading with your heart. Bring the crown of the head towards the earth between your legs. Place your hands underneath the shoulders, aligning the fingertips with your toes. If your hands cannot easily come to the earth, place your hands onto blocks that are underneath your shoulders. Take a nice in breath. Engage your quadricep. Try to press the back of the knees a little bit straighter as the crown of the head comes towards the earth. Let your head drop. Bear the weight more forward. Find a nice grounding of the roots of the toes, the blades of your feet, and your heels so that you find that nice inner arch in your feet. Take one more breath. Hands slowly come to your hips. Engage your abdominals. Rise halfway up on the inhalation and then fully up on the exhalation. Let the toes of your left foot point towards the front of the room. Step forward with your right foot at the front of your mat. Arms to the side, Tadasana, mountain pose. Prasrita Padottanasana. Let's say it. Prasrita Padottanasana. What does Prasrita mean? Do you guys remember?
To the side?
No?
No.
Wide. 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 Prasrita. To expand. To widen. Parsva. Well, we did Parsva. Pada. What's Pada? Feet. Yeah. Wide leg. Wide leg. Forward fold. So that's why it's Prasrita Padottanasana. Okay? Prasrita Padottanasana. Okay. Christy, you haven't taught 2 times, right? You've only taught once, right? Teach Prasrita Padottanasana.
Okay. All right. Take your right foot and step it back about 4 feet behind you. And then internally rotate your left foot towards, to match the right. Heel to toe out so you're extended or a little bit wider. And then lifting up through the chest. Inhale and hinging from the hips, start to fold forward. And then placing your hands down to the floor, aligning your fingertips with your toes, maybe dropping your head down towards the earth, and keeping your breath. On your next inhale, put your hands back to your hips, and gently bring yourself back up to standing. Point your left toes forward, and then bring your right foot up to your left, back into Tadasana.
Okay. So how, the length of time when they're in the pose, what do you... Longer, but
A few breaths?
like 5 breaths,
Okay.
maybe 5 breaths, because if it's less than 5 breaths, and it's only 3, they're there, and then they're not
it's
able,
a stretch.
they're able to find the sthira, which is, the steadiness, but they can't find the sukha. Yeah, they can't go the sukha. But then if they're in there too long, they find too much sukha and not enough sthira. They get complacent. So finding the right balance on how long to hold these postures is an art in itself. Okay, because you don't want them to get bored in it, but you don't want them to check out. But at the same time, you don't want to rush them out of the pose. So I never use a timer. I look at my students and see, I think I should keep them there a little bit longer. You kind of have to eye it more so. So that's why it's important that you have to start to get a rhythm of your teaching. Because once you get them in that pose, you have the option there to keep them there longer and talk about alignment cues, or get them out of there a little bit faster because they've had enough.
So can you, when you know, how you've taught us about how you'll give about 2 to 3 cues, you label what the pose is, but would that be, let's say you get them in the pose, then you could add some alignment cues when they're in it to kind of seal it?
Yes.
Otherwise, it seems to me I get overwhelmed when I think about, well, there's like 6 alignment cues, but I gotta say fake 3.
Yes, yeah. That's how come it's important. What are the 3 primary purrs to start the pose, to get them into it? Once they're there, that's when you eyeball it and say, okay, I can say this. But you don't want to do no more than 3, even at that point. Yeah.
If you're gonna get those other ones,
Yeah.
how would you do it?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you kind of like watch your students to time it with every pose that they're in, or just like specific ones?
I kind of time it with every pose they're in, because, and you'll get this too. It's not going to come easy, but you're going to see it. How long they're going to hold Janu Sirsasana. You got to kind of gauge it, because once you start seeing the sthira, you can actually see it when they start getting the ease into it. Keep the engagement, but then they start to melt even further in. And then once they find that spot, keep them there for another breath, and then guide them out of it. But the pose should embody both steadiness and ease. You got to keep that in your thought process when you're watching and eyeballing your students in that pose. Right. Okay. So, Prasarita Padottanasana. Okay, from standing position, have Anto get everyone to just sit down and extend their legs forward. We're going to go to Janu Sirsasana, okay? So, from standing position, just guide them into coming into a seated position with their legs extended in front of them.
Okay. So, start to bend your knees and just come to a seat. What can I just say?
Nope. Yeah. Do it through a flow. Do it maybe, like the first part of Surya Namaskar A. But make it so it's not just coming onto the floor,
Okay. I got this.
Yes, you do.
Okay. Inhale the arms up over your head. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale to drop the seat. Bending at the knees. And fall onto
So see, we take it for granted the simple fact of getting from a standing position to a seated position. You guys have to think about those things. You really do. Okay, this is how I would do it. Come to stand at Tadasana Mountain Pose. And you guys can steal this, and or just if you have one already in your head that you want to use right now, please do so that I don't have to share your mind. Does someone have one?
I can do it.
Go ahead.
From the top of your mat, go ahead. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, bend the knees, fold it forward. Plant the hands, step it back into a downward dog. Go ahead and gently release the knees down. Walk your hands back to sit on your heels. Sit on one side or the other and swing the legs around, extending the legs in front of you.
That's great. So you have to include those things in your instructions. You really do. That makes you a better teacher instead of just, coming down to the ground. Anyone can do that, right? Okay, so with your legs extended in front of you. Another common, very basic forward fold is Janu Sirsasana. What does Janu mean? Janu.
Head to knee, something like that.
Yes, Janu is knee, and Janu, Sirsa, head. Remember, you guys remember these little root words. You guys are getting it. Just think about it.
Slowly.
Yeah, it's coming. Okay, with your right foot extended towards the top of the mat, move the fleshy part of your left sit bone back, bend into your right knee, place the sole of your right foot to the inside of your left inner thigh. Make sure that the toes of your left foot is pressing, the left heel is pressing forward. Engage that left quadricep. Reach the arms into the air, torso lines over that left leg. Let's do this. Take your left thumb onto your left hip crease and press it downwards. Try to lift the heart and bring the heart into the air. Lift the right arm forward and rolling over that left thumb, reach your right arm towards that left foot. Release the left hand to your right foot as well, and as you fold forwards into that left leg. Janu Sirsasana. Keep the left heel actively engaged. Keep that left quadricep actively engaged. Try to melt the belly button over the top of that left thigh. Engaging that left quadricep will enable you to extend that left leg a little bit straighter, and if not, that's okay too. Hands to prayer position over the top of that left foot. Engage your abdominals. Slowly rise up. Release the arms by the sides of your torso. Extend your right foot forward. Move the fleshy part of your sit bones back. That's how I teach it. That's my normal spiel. Find a nice rhythm. Teach to each other, please. Again, teach Janu Sirsasana.
Like, do you want partners or groups?
Partners. Oh, groups, because it's faster. Let's do 3, 4, 4. Yeah, 4, 4. 4, 4, 3. 4, 4, 3.
You wanna go first or me?
I think it's 3-3.
Oh, is it 3, 3, 4?
3-3-4.
3, 3, 4. 3, 3, 4.
Both the legs extended. Or right, she just did left leg.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Flesh from your bottom.
Okay, so,
Round your sits bone down to the mat. Take your left
bring
foot,
your left foot
inhale, bend it towards your chest, taking the sole of your foot to the inner thigh of your right foot.
the crease. I got you.
Inhale, your arms out. Angle yourself to your right, your chest,
So
turn
where
forward
you
and leg and folding down and hinging from the waist every time you inhale. You can grab that foot,
twist towards our right.
making sure you're pushing or you're having your chest hit your thigh, engaging that quadricep as you
Grabbing on
Stretch
your
that.
shin, ankle, or around
keeping
your
your
foot.
flex engaged.
Inhale
So
and
exhale,
exhale,
lean
lean more as
exhale,
you melt deeper into this
One more
pose.
breath.
Time to bring your head to your knee.
More important, bringing your chest to the thigh versus the head. So relax, lengthening your neck.
Alright, now you release your hands and then gently come
Inhale,
up to
take your
rise.
hands to prayer above your
Oh, I have to be
right
careful.
foot.
Alright, and then
Using your abs slowly.
Christy, when you said grab, probably use a different word. Would you guys agree? Yeah, but it's minute, but find another word instead of grab.
Doesn't it sound a little more
Flowery. Yeah, flowery. Yeah.
Right knee up towards your chest, letting it fall to the side, bringing the sole of that foot, pushing it towards your arms up.
So
Raise your arms up.
Reach
over to
towards,
the side,
reach
your
towards
legs
your right foot.
shifting either side of your
Okay.
chest over your leg.
legs outstretched.
Leading with your chest and flat back, arms slowly start to fold over that extended left leg. Hands can rest on the shin, ankle or mat.
Foot, ankle, shin.
On each inhale, lengthen your spine.
Inside
On
of
each
your right
exhale,
foot on the
surrender
inner-
a little bit
inner
more
thigh.
to breathe.
Urdhva Hastasana arms. Chest open, turn towards your extended leg.
Next.
Keeping the back bend, reaching forward to find your toes, perhaps bending your knee if you need to,
And
or
start
you still
to
keep the back bend as the heart
take
lifts.
one more deep breath, leading with your chest and the flat back.
Keeping the back bend as you can
Pressing
forward
your
or
hands
bend
into
to
the
the
mat,
mat.
slowly start to rise back
And
up.
on the
Shake
release
it,
of your
walking those
hamstrings.
hands back. Take your right leg,
If
step
your
it
legs
back.
out in front of you, go ahead and
Bringing
move the
your
fleshy
chest
parts away from your sits
Lifting your
bones.
chest and raising
Take that
the
left
arms.
leg and bend it, placing it on the inside of the right thigh.
bring your arms down.
Take a slight
towards
bend
the
in that right leg.
I'm
As
trying
you
to think of
inhale,
the
turn yourself to the right leg, reaching your arms up.
Yeah, you got to find a word that sounds right coming out of your mouth. Because if it doesn't sound right, you'll stop yourself, saying it. So you got to find a word that fits your personality.
Letting
Okay, so we're
the
gonna
hamstring
ground
open
into our
up.
seat
Inhale
here.
and
Like
exhale.
maybe pull the fleshy parts of your bottom back under you. Bending the left. Bending into the left knee. Bring it up to your chest on the inside of your
One more
side.
breath.
Your right thigh.
Flex your
On the
right
next
foot
inhale,
back
bring
towards
back
you,
up the same way down. So reaching those arms up as your torso comes up, flat, flat back. Flat back.
Twist towards
Go ahead and extend that left leg and then go ahead and just give them a little
back.
And slowly
Reaching where your foot is possible.
down.
flat back.
Keep this quadricep engaged. Foot flexed.
And then bring the right arm
Breathe
to the
here.
left.
Bend in your knees and bring your right.
Every exhale, fold
Keep
deeper
it
into the position.
engaged and your shoulder blades together on your back.
On the next inhale, plant your hands on the side of your legs.
Inhale,
Slowly
bring
rise
your
up
arms
with the
to
straight
prayer
spine.
position.
Bring your left leg out to meet your right.
Lift your body.
Did you guys all do it? Okay, good. So, okay, Lindsay, you've got a pretty good forward fold, but there's always more, okay? Place the sole, okay, yeah. Press through the heel, reach the arms over the top of your head, lengthen. Inhale, twist to your left, exhale, start to fold forwards. So, come over here, both of you, so you can see a little bit more. So if you look at from here, from what I'm seeing, you're going to see a lot of length on this side, but a little bit less compression on this side. So, do you see how much deeper you can go? Did you see that? Yeah, so that's how it goes. So all you're doing is you're creating space here so that she can fold even more forward on both sides.
So it's almost like she's dropping her abdomen closer to her thigh.
That's
not
exact.
her chest.
Yes.
She's
So
taking that abdomen.
yeah.
Lengthening the abdomen and pushing.
Yeah, that's how come I say lay your belly button across the top of your thigh and then slowly come forward.
Yes.
I always wonder, like,
I get that now.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're like back bend forward fold and then like curled back. Like, when do you do? Will you be told, or is it kind of just optional?
Sthira Sukham Asanam. Sthira is the setting it up, grounding. Exhale, fold forwards. Take a nice in breath, and then and then you surrender into it.
Because I'm always like, is my back straight? Should it be curled? Should I?
Yeah.
Back bend?
And so, okay. I'm going to show you guys a little something with Magna. So you guys come a little bit closer. Extend your legs. Face the wall. Face the wall. Okay. Take a nice in breath. Move the fleshy part of your sit bones back. Bend into your right knee. Interlace your hands in front of the right knee. Place the sole of your right foot to the inside of your left inner thigh. Move the fleshy part of your left sit bone back. Lengthen on the inhalation. Reach the arms over the top of your head. Twist your torso to meet that left leg. Exhale, start to lengthen and bow forward. Releasing your hands on both sides of that left leg. Okay, now, you guys come over here and see what I see.
Her magic hands.
Yeah. See what I see. Okay, hers is actually pretty good, but what you'll oftentimes see is this. This is what you'll oftentimes see more so than anything, and it was simply that. Okay, so so she's pretty good. This is a pretty good a forward fold. It really is. But look at this. If I take a nice in breath, I'm creating space right here, and do you see the difference? It's like, it's not from here, but it's from here. And then I lengthen it here. So if you think about those terms, like that's how come I say, put your left thumb here, move your belly over, and then lengthen over.
You keep the belly going leaning
Yes,
against the thigh, not the
yes,
chest.
not the chest, the belly. If you can let your belly button rest against the top of that left thigh, see, she'll automatically do this. Okay, my belly button is coming over that left thigh. Yes, okay. So you guys can see, you can feel it. You do it to each other because it's a nice way of like seeing. Okay, how can I say this?
It's like you can really go a lot deeper than you thought. Like I never thought I could like go that deep.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's and my fingers didn't rest on her, so
It's just like
it's like right here. It's like right here, and I lift, and then I always breathe with them. Okay, so your breath has to be audible. So let's play with each other and do that, okay?
I don't care.
Facing the wall.
It's better if you face the wall so that they're behind you. Yeah, yes. So that, you know.
So do your right leg in, and then,
Oh, you can actually do. Yeah, you can do Sarah.
Sarah, belly button touch.
Nice.
Except for I didn't breathe with
So and also get Sonia, you want to get a little bit down because if you're here, you're limited to what you can do. So if you go down and you're here, and then okay, yeah.
did you feel the deepest in the stretch?
Yeah, you got to come down almost. You can't stay up here and do it. You have to come down and do it. Okay. Hers is pretty deep, but you can. I'm sure you can go deep, even deeper.
Go deeper?
Oh yeah. So and it's
Oh, there
not
it
here
goes.
so much. It's like more right here.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 Do you see?
Feel it?
It's even deeper than you would think. Yeah. Isn't that's nice, huh? It's like you get the sukha when that happens. Yeah, you get the sukha. So your hands, rather than being like right there, is more like on the side. On the side. Take a nice in breath. There you go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And that kind of works for everyone. It's almost like a universal adjustment.
So it's really like, it's like this. It's like a sleep.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, because the rib cage is like this, and what you're doing is you're letting it expand and then lift. Yeah, yeah.
Is there any way to do that without a partner?
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Not really.
Not really, but if you can internalize it, like what you guys are doing right now, you guys are internalizing the feeling of what I need to do. You start verbalizing it. So now teach it from this place that you just did. Teach it to your partner from this place, okay? Because you already have it. You already can feel it. So, yeah.
Just feel like different cues.
Yes, find different, you're going to use different cues now because you learned it a different way. So, yeah. It's just going to come differently. Yeah, it's just going to come differently. Oh, yeah, do partners. Do one partner more.
Belly and chest rotate over your left leg. Spread your arms up overhead. Leading with your heart side, your belly button is the first thing to touch your left leg. Slowly twist forward. Lengthening through both sides of your rib cage before surrendering into the
bend your knees if you
Flexing your left foot.
to feel that.
Remember to try to
Each
push your
inhale,
belly
lengthening
onto
through
your
both
thigh.
sides of your ribcage a little bit more. With each exhale, surrendering to the earth.
Directly over
And
the
exhale.
transition into the side.
Slowly press into your chest.
And slowly come to
And
rest.
extend your
Inhale,
right leg
place your
forward.
hands and push on your palms to the side.
See, you taught it from a different place. It is more organic when you learn it. Yeah. So that's. What you can also do, another cue that I oftentimes will do is the extended leg. When they're here, I'm like, extend the left side of your rib cage a little bit longer, because then you can see it happening. Because if you're not able to tactically touch them, expand the length of your left rib cage, lengthen the credit. Use verbal cues to get your feeling, to get your point across.
So go ahead and take bend the left leg, perhaps slightly away from the sole of the foot. Sole of the foot is either thigh, tall, high, or low. I think that the grabbing of the right tool forward away from that right leg. So keep that leg, slight bend in the knee, nice long spine. Inhale, reaching the arms up on the exhale. Leading the belly button.
Right leg is belly up.
Leading the chest towards the right leg as you reach your belly button towards your thigh. Try to lengthen that right side as you're holding on to your shin or your ankle.
Reach our arms above overhead, turning towards the extended leg. And as we pull, bring your belly towards your thigh. And also open hands. Keep a slight bend in your knee.
One more breath.
Very good. Into the
Go
soul.
ahead and release the grip, reaching the arms forward on an inhale, coming back
On
up.
the right side of your rib cage. Exhaling as you pull deeper.
That's really good.
Engaging your quads.
I liked how you said
Knees.
Feeling like they're
toes.
And I'm trying to think of like, I didn't want to pull you, because like, how do I get you to do that?
Yeah.
Again, inhale, right knee back the knee.
I feel like that'd be safer for like getting
Belly button.
Okay.
On our next inhale, let's take our hands to the side of our knees and gently push ourselves up with our abdomen.
Yeah, that's
Take our hands behind us, extending that left foot back to your right.
Okay, has everyone taught? So again, always use your experience to teach the pose, and it becomes really easy to start teaching from that place, from your experience. Okay? I've done so many forward folds, it's ridiculous. So I won't do them anymore. Okay, and a more advanced forward fold is Upavista Konasana. Wide forward fold. Upavista Konasana. Now, this posture is not a friend of a lot of men. And to make it a little bit more accessible to them, to be more attracted to them, especially if they have tight hamstrings and hips, you're going to take a blanket, you're going to fold it, and sit at the very lip of the blanket. Did we do this with you guys? Did I do this with you guys? Okay, so everyone please grab a blanket. Please grab a blanket. So in a forward fold, also notice you don't really need to do a counter pose for a forward fold. Forward fold is usually the counter pose, right? So notice how we just kind of go from one pose to another, or we can go into Shavasana from a forward fold. A twist and a forward fold are postures that can lead going into Shavasana. So after you've done a good forward fold, Janu Sirsasana, Upavista Konasana, Baddha Konasana, notice you pretty much go into Shavasana. Isn't that the case? But normally that's the case. So it's a good ending posture. And it's where you can get your notes out and start talking to your students about keeping them in there. And maybe for parts of closing the class, holding them there and being able to speak, because you don't really want to disturb them when they're in Shavasana. So when you have them in a forward fold, this is where you can tell your story time. You can ease them into the sukha. You've got them into the sthira, now you get them into the sukha through your storytelling or whatever words of wisdom you're going to embark with your friends, or with your students. So Upavista Konasana. So what I do is I take the blanket, I fold it in quarters, and I sit at the very edge, the lip of it, so that there's a downward flow of the knees, okay? Then you extend your legs out and wide. Now, it's important that you do not ever press on someone's back when they're in a forward fold this way. With their foot this way, with one foot extended, when it's an asymmetrical forward fold, it's okay to do a more active tactile adjustment. But when it's an extended leg or outward leg, you never want to push on their spine or guide them further into the pose, because you can really injure someone, okay? This is where it becomes, you have to use more words. So with your legs extended wide, you're going to need to move the fleshy part of your sit bones back so that there's a downward tilt of the pelvic floor. If you don't need the blanket, then by all means move it out of the way. But for, like I said, most men, I usually will have a blanket that they can lean on. Take your fingertips out in front of you and micro bend your knees ever so slightly so you engage your quadriceps and press the heels forward. Take your fingertips in front of you, but not the palms, high on your fingertips. Bring the shoulder blades onto the back. Move the shoulder blades onto the back. Close the eyes. Take a nice in-breath. Start to slowly lower the heart, the chest forward as your fingertips start to walk forward. Take a nice in-breath. Engage your quadriceps. Maybe walk them out a little bit further forward. Start to align the arms with the ears. And stretch those fingertips a little bit further forward. Engage your quads. Maybe press the back of the knees a little bit straighter. Upavista Konasana. Keep an engagement in your quadriceps. Make sure that the toes are pointing forward. Take a nice in-breath. Expel all the breath out of the lungs. Breathe into your back body. Breathe into your kidneys. Imagine someone has placed their hands on your kidneys as you breathe into their palms. Oh, nice. And then everyone, except for Charlotte, bring your hands underneath the shoulders. Start to slowly rise up. So this is an adjustment. It's a tactile adjustment. It's not really an adjustment that I did. Remember that I said breathe into your kidneys, okay? Come up for a little bit. When I said that, I came to Charlotte and I said, imagine you're breathing, you're breathing into your kidneys. You just automatically will lengthen and deepen more because you're filling the back body with breath and extension. And you'll see what I mean. Yours is a pretty deep. Place your hands underneath the shoulders. Engage your quadriceps, rise all the way up. Okay. Getting them out of the pose from a forward fold. Hands will come underneath the shoulders. Engage your abdominals. Squeeze the shoulder blades onto back. Engage your quads. Slowly press into your palms to rise up with your torso. And you guide them out slowly. As much instruction coming out of this pose as coming in. Coming into the forward fold. Hands, fingertips underneath the shoulders. Close the eyes. I have my students close my eyes because ego is into this pose a lot. A lot of people want to look around, see how far someone else is going. I'm not good enough. My legs are bent. If you close your eyes, you prevent that from happening. It's a more internal pose. Take a nice in-breath. Expel all the breath out of the lungs. Start to slowly move your heart, your chest forward, walking your fingertips forward. And you guide them slowly into it. You take your time. You give a little bit more. Squeeze the shoulder blades onto the back, melt the heart, melt the chest. Take a nice in-breath, expel all the breath out of the lungs. Imagine breathing into your rib cage. Imagine breathing into your kidneys. You'll notice they deepen more because their attention is no more longer in the front body, now it's in their back body. So you're getting their attention away from what they think that they should be at into somewhere else. And so the sukha starts to happen when you bring the attention to their back body. Okay? Bring your hands, okay, guide her out of this pose.
Okay, slowly bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. Lifting with your heart.
Engage their quads first, engage their abdominals first, because remember, you want to protect their back.
And lift through the palms and with the chest, and walk your hands back. Bring your right leg in front of you. Swing, how is that? Okay, and then
See, even those little things, like, how do I do this? Bring your, you got to think, okay, bring your right foot in, followed by your left, extend your legs forward, and then come onto your back. So all those little parts, don't leave them hanging, That's so important. Just don't leave them hanging in the pose and have them try to figure out how to get out of it. So that's Upavista Konasana, okay? Who hasn't taught 2 times? Has everyone taught 2 times already? Oh, well, Sarah, can you please? To Upavista Konasana and out of it.
And out of it as well.
And out of it as well.
Bring your seat on a folded blanket, moving the...
But even when you have them put their seat on a folded blanket, tell them where to sit, because if you tell them to put their seat on a folded blanket, this is what they're going to do. So be very specific where they're going to put their seat. Yeah.
So how would you say it? So you just
Sit at the very edge of the,
Okay.
yeah.
So legs extended forward, bringing your seat to the edge of the blanket. Stretching your left and right foot out to either side. Opening your chest. Grounding your seat. Fingers like steeples on the floor, not palms on the floor, but fingers, whatever. Chest lifted, heart open, slowly drawing your hands towards the front of your mat. This might be your pose. If not, allowing your chest to move forward and down, releasing the head, perhaps bending the knees if you need to have a little release as you do that. Opening the chest, allowing the back body to open. Taking peace inside to just breathe. Engaging the abs, slowly bringing your fingers towards you, chest lifting, heart opening as you rise upwards. Taking one inhale and exhale. Bending the knees slightly as you bring left and right foot in front to the front of your mat.
Okay, so when you had them extend out like so, they have to engage their quads. Yeah. So always remember, work upwards. From down, start with the grounding, bending the knees. You don't want to have them here and then say, okay, now you can bend your knees. Have them bend their knees first, come down, and then maybe extend them straighter.
Yeah.
You don't.
It's tough for me because I don't do this pose, so I don't feel it.
Right,
It's
right.
my tightest area.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's what you. So you don't want to backtrack your instructions. You want to start with the knees bent so that they can straighten it, not straighten and then bend into it if they need a little bit more ease.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do the progression, not the.
Right,
Yeah, I see it.
right. Don't backpedal.
Yeah.
Don't backpedal.
Got it.
Any questions on Upavista Konasana? Baddha Konasana. What's Baddha Konasana? Cobbler's pose. Love this pose. It's a good pose to get people out of them. But the correct way is, how do you have them do this? Getting the verbiage to just from here to this. Think about it. What do you say?
Plant your soles together.
Bring the soles of your feet together. What do you do with your hands?
Wrapping your hands,
So you got to say it verbally so it sounds right.
wrapping your hands around your feet,
Wrap your hands around your feet.
top of your feet.
see what I mean? See what I'm saying? What I say is bring the soles of your feet together, place your hands on the tops of your feet, place your thumbs to the pads of your feet, open up the soles of the feet as if you're reading a book. Take a nice in-breath, and as you exhale, start to slowly move your heart and your chest forward. So even the way that you hold their feet, how are they going to hold their feet? They don't know how to do it without your instruction to do it correctly. So simple posture, but let's teach each other just this, how to hold forward and hold their feet to come forward. Because it's important. It all matters. Okay? So please teach one the other. Baddha Konasana. Do partners. Just do partners. Yeah, just do partners.
Place your thumbs to the sole of your feet, letting the other fingers rest on the outside side. Your feet blade open like the pages of a book. Lengthening through the spine, lifting through your heart, creating with that heart as you gently begin to fold
Reach and grab the
over.
sides of your feet with your fingers, pushing your
With
thumbs
each
down.
inhale, lengthen a little bit more. With each
Slowly
exhale,
begin to
surrender
turn
your
and
heart.
rotate each foot outwards. Push
If
your
your forehead's on the mat, you might
elbows
release your
up to your knees.
hands, walking them forward.
With a straight spine.
When they get out of it, guide them into laying position. Because that's normally the segue from Baddha Konasana to on your back. Yeah.
And then just exhale slowly,
Press them
push
into the
yourself
mat,
up, sitting position.
use
Send
your
your legs
hands
straight out in front of you.
bring them together
Having
towards
a
your
cross,
chest.
please remove it to the side of your mat.
Side,
Slowly
grabbing onto
lower
your knees
yourself
and
down
starting going down.
onto your mat. Shavasana.
But finish it off, okay? So we always want to finish it off. Once you have them here on their back, guide them into a Shavasana. Yeah, guide them that whole thing. Yeah, yes, yeah, guide them completely out of it. Yeah.
Letting your legs lengthen, your hands resting around your hips, palms
Okay,
up.
so just lay on your mat. Sorry. It's okay. I'm tired, so don't worry about it. Keep your chin tucked, your shoulders down and away from your back. Palms facing upward, upward, downward. Feet spot to the side. Deep inhale, exhale. Breathe in here. Good job. You're up.
Yeah, I would have done it maybe.
Bring the soles of your feet together.
So stay nice and tall, bring the soles of your feet together.
Hands
Reach your
reaching
hands to the outside of the feet,
thumbs
thumbs
to
to
outside the feet. As if looking at a book.
Inhale, sitting up nice and tall. As you exhale, open up your foot like you're reading a book. Where your feet, as you're pressing your elbows open, trying to get your chest closer to you.
Open your feet like above.
Shoulders sliding down your back to keep your heart open, keeping the back bend.
Engage in your abdomen, keeping
Trying to
it
reach the
long,
heart
lengthen your
towards the
spine,
feet.
feeding from your chest, and slowly fold and hinge with a flat back towards the mat.
Take one more breath.
On an
Inhale,
inhale,
pressing into your legs as you arch
And relax
It's a hard part.
with every inhale,
moving
lengthen,
any
exhale,
block or
deepen,
blanket.
Inhale to press the belly forward.
belly button
Extend
exhale.
your feet outwards towards the front of your
Go ahead
mat.
and keep the outside of the legs. Pull them in, grab it underneath the knees. Inhale on an exhale, gently roll back. Release them down onto the mat. Go ahead, turn the arms by your side, palms are facing up, slide them away from the body. Extend the legs nice and long. Open up the legs as wide as your mat, letting the feet fall
Be
flat.
extended to the right side of your mat.
Lengthen the back of the neck and
Extend
the
it forward for the left.
Taking your hands behind you,
Chin
extend your
comes
legs back.
Taking a
Slowly
deep
take
inhale.
yourself down to a supine position.
Allowing it to exhale anything.
Prepare yourself for Shavasana. Keep
7, 9, 11, 13.
hands away from your body. Arms away from your body.
I
Hands
don't wanna
up.
get up. Yeah.
Taking your shoulders closer together.
Yes, yeah.
Unclenching
Have
your
that
jaw.
like getting in.
Pulling it,
Feeling
yeah.
good.
That was nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel better with the slow stuff.
Taking
Funny
your
thing is I like the fast stuff in practice.
Yeah, I know.
It's really everything else in my life.
But you like teaching the slow stuff. Who would have thought?
Same.
For Shavasana.
That's like a we don't start with another
Okay, okay. Coming to sit at the center of your mat. Grounding through your sit bones. Bring the soles of your feet together. Take your hands to the tops of your feet, bringing your thumbs to the pads of your feet. Walk your heels even closer to the inner groin. So if you walk the heels closer to the inner groin, there's more stretch in the hips. The farther the feet are apart, there's going to be more tendency to round the spine and not so much stretch in the hips. So the closer the heels are towards the seat, the deeper the stretch, the hip stretch. Take a nice in breath, and as you exhale, start to slowly bend the elbows outwards as you move the heart and the chest towards the tops of your feet. Let your head slowly drop, rounding the spine. Take a nice in breath. Release your fingertips to both sides of your feet. And exhale and surrender. Baddha Konasana. Check in with the softness and space between the shoulders and the ears. Maybe move your head left, right, yes, no. Soften your jaw, soften your facial muscles. Start to slowly engage your abdominals. Close the mouth. Breathe primarily through the nostrils. Inhale, press your fingertips to both sides of your feet. Slowly rise up with your heart in your chest. Cross the legs out in front of you. Place your hands to the top of your mat. Roll onto your knees and walk your knees behind you so that you can lower your belly, your chest, and finally your forehead to the mat. Reach the right arm over the top of your head. Roll onto your right side. Come completely onto your back. Come onto your back. Take your feet as wide as hip width apart or wider. Arms by the sides, palms rotated up. Take a nice in breath. Expel all the breath out of the lungs. Allow the ground to support you. Soften your jaw. Soften your facial muscles. Soften your fingertips. Allow the ankles to become very heavy so that the toes naturally splay out. As you feel the rise and the fall of your belly, close the eyes if you haven't done so already. Start to allow movement to come back to your fingertips and your toes. Hug the knees to your chest. Give yourself a sweet hug. Rocking back and forth, massaging your sacrum low back. Reach an arm over the top of your head. Roll onto that side. Use that arm underneath you for support. And stay there a moment. Using your opposite palm in front of your chest, slowly bring yourself to a seated position. Grounding through the sit bones, lengthening the spine. Crossing your legs in front of you and bringing your hands to Anjali Mudra. We end today's practice by joining our voices together in the final chant of Om Shanti. Shanti, Shanti Om. Inhale, receive the breath. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti Om. I bow to the light and sound in all of you. Namaste. Thank you so much. Be okay with silence too. You know, when they're in Shavasana, you don't have to talk. Be okay with silence. When you're having them rest, be okay with not having to fill it with the sound of your voice. Because you get to a point like me where I hate hearing my voice. I'm sick of myself. I teach so much, you know, I'm sick of hearing myself. So be okay with not saying anything at all. Yeah. All right. We will see you tomorrow at the studio. Thank you, guys.